We have spent a year investigating a horrible secret. Tens of thousands of foster care children, even infants, given powerful mind-altering drugs and at times in doses and combinations considered too risky even for adults.
We were told to put our faith in a system, and that's what we did. No one said the medications could be causing a problem. They kept saying she needs more medication.
Teenager learns his punishment for killing his mother and shooting his father in a dispute over a video game.
You have digital natives who are born into this technology. They have it 24/7. They're really good at it. It's wonderful and empowers them, but they're not spending enough time in face-to-face conversation offline. So they're neglecting those skills that define our humanity.
The flicker rate on the television is very, very important. It was timed to be so many cycles per second, and it actually just meets with the brain patterns for an alpha state. Watch children and watch their mouths. They drop open.
When we talk about the fractured family, you can see the parents reading newspapers and books, and the kids are online all the time.
They're hypnotized, in fact. Why would they give that particular flicker rate when they could have chosen of a whole variety of flicker rates? It wasn't an essential thing to have.
In fact, there was a recent study that found that surgeons who play video games actually make fewer errors in the operating room.
Wow, that's amazing.
That is interesting.
So it was done for a purpose. It was meant to be hypnotic. It was meant to be used as a tool of propaganda and indoctrination, even through the guise of entertainment.
The government's been in bed with the entire telecommunications industry since the 40s. They've infected everything. They get into your bank statements, computer files, email, listen to your phone calls, every wire, every airwave. The more technology you use, the easier it is for them to keep tabs on you. It's a brave new world out there.
You identify with the hero if you're a male. You identify with the heroine if you're female.
In the old days, we actually had to tap a wire in your phone line. Now it calls bouncing off satellites. They snatch them right out of the air.
The human story is just the bait to make you watch through it, to get you to identify with it. Because once again, there's always a message left somewhere in the movie. It might even be a message that's against your own morality.
The IQ in Western nations has dropped by a staggering 14.1 points over the course of the last 100 years. And of course, television has undoubtedly played its part in that dumbing down process.
You are tuned in to God's Property Radio. Here are your hosts, Sam and Dan.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, Sam. And welcome to our listeners back to our second episode of God's Property Radio. All right, well, we had Leonard Ulrich on again. He is definitely one of our favorites, and you'll hear from him again, but probably not for a while after this.
Basically, what we have going on here is a 4-hour interview that we cut down into 2 parts, because 4 hours is a little excessive. Although Dan and I are huge fans when we see 2 hours to 3 hours to 4 hours on some sort of lecture or interview, we get really amped because we go, man, that's a lot of information that I can just sponge into my brain. So for the people out there that are listening right now, you don't have to sit through 4 hours in a row.
Very true.
You can just sit through 2. But that being said, since we broke this up, I want to talk about just briefly what we get into with Leonard in this first part. For those of you who are looking forward to Volume 2, like Dan and I are,
Leonard explains his introduction to his second volume, which, as a little spoiler for the episode, is going to double as his trailer for it. And it's pretty sweet sounding. I mean, it's going to be intense. So when you all see it and you hear what he's describing, but when we all actually get to see it, we're going to be like, whoa, that was brilliant.
Yeah, so he talks a little bit about his plans for Volume 2, as he's working on right now. I think he's working on the script. He said he has a couple weeks off, and so we're pumped for him to get that done, and let us see it.
Hallelujah.
In part 1 of Media/Mind Control, Leonard essentially had us look up articles as we had a laptop in front of us with microphones here.
It was basically like a classroom setting, and it was really neat because you really kind of get to experience Leonard's teacher side coming out, I think, which, by the way, he's a fantastic teacher and lecturer, in my opinion.
And mine.
Agreed. But he sent us the articles or told us where to find them online. We pulled them up, we'd read through them, and he would take them apart and expound upon what the article was talking about or explain it more in depth.
And I believe he is going to be taking this interview and posting it into 4 parts on his YouTube channel. And if you haven't befriended Leonard or subscribed to his channel, make sure you go to YouTube and just type in Leonard Ulrich, and it's the Leonard Ulrich channel. It should come up right away. Go and subscribe to that. He has a bunch of different interviews with, Rob Skiba, Peter Hebert, KPRS,
Cheryl Edwards.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Anyway, I think.
You think we've jabbed on enough here, Sam? Think we could?
I think you've heard enough of our voices. Why don't we just go straight to the interview with Leonard Ulrich on Media/Mind Control Part 1.
Da-na-na-na-na-na.
This discussion is under the blood covenant of Yahshua, explicitly without prejudice and under reserve.
How are you, Leonard?
Oh, it's the best of times and the worst of times. How's that for an answer?
Sounds good to me.
Been doing some reading then.
Oh, I'm trying to wrap my head around a few possible donations and how that affects Volume 2 and sales for Volume 1. It's just crazy. It's a series of good distractions, but they are distractions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Blessings and distractions.
Well, yeah. I mean, it totally depends on, about $10,000 coming in or not.
Wow.
Nice. Praise God.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, but I'm sort of on the edge because if it comes in through 2 donations, then I am going to completely change my computer hardware collection here and sell some of my cameras and upgrade to a new camera and so on and so forth. So I'm sort of in limbo right now.
I think in one of your emails when we were talking back and forth, you mentioned if it goes through, you're talking about going to 4K, right?
That's correct.
Awesome.
So will you be doing any traveling at all to get some footage for the next documentary then?
Oh, yeah. There's a couple of locations that I've already pre-scouted, and I've already done some rough footage of my on my own cameras for. And there's a lot of. It's really complicated because the first 2 minutes of the film is designed to act as a trailer.
Really?
Oh yeah. And so all I have to do is literally take the first 2 minutes of the film and use that as the trailer. So if no one has seen the trailer or the film before, then they already know what to expect. And this involves, let's just say, a monastery in ruins and a couple of guys dressed up in old monk robes, but they're not really monks. And they're sitting down at a table and they're playing a game of dominoes, except now they're playing a game of dominoes with nations. Oh, yeah. And it's designed to show the occult aspect of what's going on, because that is exactly, according to Ephesians 6:12, what is going on. And so what you're going to see, hopefully, if I can pull all this off, is 2 guys in sort of black hooded outfits. You never really see their faces, sitting down at an old grand table in the middle of a monastery ruins. And they open up their little chests of dominoes, and they wait for the key guy who is dressed in red. And the guy in red fills their boxes of the dominoes with each nation, and subconsciously directs the guys dressed in black as to the order in which they lay out a string of countries in a row in the form of dominoes. And it starts with Greece, and it goes on and on and on through the United States, through the European Union, And finally, the last domino is the entire Earth. And each domino gets larger, physically larger. And in the end, they complete, these two guys in black complete their sequence of dominoes on the table, arranged vertically in a row. And the guy in red pulls out a kilo gold bar and proceeds to topple all the dominoes which are lined up. And the last domino is positioned at the end of the table so that it falls off the table. And that domino is, of course, the entire Earth. And it falls to the ground, breaks up into 100 pieces. And out of that arises this all-seeing eye pyramid from the ground.
Huh. Nice.
Yeah, and that is designed to show everyone the entire sequence of events, that everything is planned, that in the end gold and anything tangible will smash that which is unreal, as in the current debt and debt paradigm that we're in. And it portrays the entire financial story without using any words. And this is kind of really cutting edge for me, because this involves green screen work. It involves...
green screens are fun.
Oh, yeah. Multiple camera angles, even from overhead. So I have to build a scaffolding just to handle the camera angles. It involves multiple video layering and blurring of the characters. And as in, they're going to be semi-transparent and blurred, and they're going to come on the scene in a ghost-like fashion because they're not really material. And in the end, you know, they're going to vanish, and the only thing left is of course the triangle, the all-seeing eye coming out of the ground. And it's really complicated, and I've never done any multi-camera live action work before that it's all, you know, prepped out, and with a controlled set and actors and costumes and everything like that. But I think that'll really cause people to go, what is this all about?
Oh, yeah.
So that's my little story.
Wow.
That's really cool.
Step up right there.
Oh, yeah. And in the middle of all this, I'm constantly cutting back and forth to media clips. You know, you're going from that which is unreal to emphasize the occult aspect of that which is real. So I'm cutting from the monastery scene to news clips of interesting clips that pretty well say everything that they need to say, as in banks don't run the world. Sorry, governments don't run the world. Corporations and banks run the world. And this is coming from a stock trader. And then, you know, the quotes from the Rothschilds, and constant quotes about the New World Order from financial gurus instead of political gurus. So you get the whole sense of what the movie is going to be about without me saying a word, and it's hard to pull off. And I don't know whether my current equipment can pull it off. So, you know, do I rent stuff? Do I, you know,
right?
Do I wait for my dream stuff to come? I don't know. So I'm kind of in limbo right now, just researching and writing the script, because everything is based on that script. But I've got a pretty good imagination. And like I said, the first 2 minutes have to grab you.